Alright, so here is the Cadillac Transbrake controller and the wiring harness. I got it all kind of just spread out across the bench. This is where I test it all before I put it in the box. So I have on the graph over here, the oscilloscope, the green is the Transbrake. You see that fall off when the Transbrake is lit. Blue is the two-step output that goes in the opposite direction, so the Transbrake line goes down when it's on, blue goes up when that's on. So they look like they go opposite each other. And in yours, I'm actually using this wheel. This is a V3 Cadillac wheel. Alright, you have a V2. I got just some resistors over here simulating your paddle shifters. So left paddle, Transbrake is lit, and two-step is lit. And then when you're holding the left paddle in and you tap the right one, you'll get a one-shot bump. Alright, there's an adjustment on the front of this box for how much that bump lasts. Again, it's one hit each. So I think the max is 300 milliseconds, something like that. Minimum is about 40. So most people are somewhere, a third of the way up on the knob. You may not even use it, the fact that you're supercharged. You might just pull up on the foot brake, Transbrake, stab the throttle, and then let go of the button. And then when you let go, everything releases. You do have an auxiliary output coming out of this thing. So when you hit the right paddle on its own, you're not holding the Transbrake right now. Let's say you're going down, you release the Transbrake, you're going down the track. You want a scramble button for like a turbo system, or you want like a 50 or 100 shot of nitrous, you can hold the right paddle in at that point, and you'll see a yellow light up on this one, and that's a 12-volt output going to any relay of your choice or a signal input to another module, hence nitrous or turbo controller, something like that. Some people actually hook it up to a line lock solenoid. Not directly, you still need a relay, but so you can use the right paddle on its own and use that for your line lock. Flip the switch on the box off, and now you have downshift and upshift again. So your left paddle will revert back to downshift, right paddle reverts back to upshift. So you can turn this system off, so there's no boo-boos when you're going down the street and you accidentally think you're going to be up and down shifting. You don't want to hit the Transbrake on the highway, that will blow shit up. So I do put the pins on the end of the wires. So these gray ones will go right into your transmission harness. At the back of the transmission, you got that 16-pin harness there. There's 4 of these here. Each one's labeled. Pin 15, 16, and 7 and 8. So you'll just pop the little dummy plugs out that just because there's no wire in there, they put a dummy plug in. Pop those out and carefully click these in. There's a little white lock on the connector that you're going to have to release, and it only moves like 1/8 of an inch, so that you can pull pins out and push pins back in. So just make sure you pop that out before you try fight to put these in. Just be careful with them. They are electrical terminals. You do have a twisted pair here. That's actually the power for this box. You're going to tap both of these wires, these twisted pair, into pin 12 of your transmission round connector there. You're going to find pin 12. That's going to be one wire, and normally I just snip that wire, so now you have 2 ends. I will add my 2 to it, so it almost looks like a 3-to-1 if you want to flip it around and make it like a 2-to-2, but then the wiring harness looks a little funny. Either way, you need these 2 tapped to the pin 12. You do have a ground. It's got an eyelet on the end of it, so you could find just a stud or a bolt right to the body of the ground of the car there. That's the ground for the box. You have 3 short wires here. That auxiliary output that I was talking about, boost, scramble, nitrous, or like a line lock, that 12-volt signal is not needed for the Transbrake to function, so most of the time you could just leave that hanging there. But it's this short little yellow one, and again, all these wires are labeled. And you do have an orange and a green that is a short one if you ever decide to order one of our drag box kits. That's a replacement for a two-step. So what that does, it uses throttle manipulations to set your RPM for your launch, as well as when you let go of the button, how fast does the throttle pedal signal ramp up. You can adjust that as well. So you're adjusting your throttle launch RPM as well as how fast the power comes in after the button. The two-step is only, RPM, hold here, let go of the button, you get wide open. So sometimes you'll get 3 to 5 feet out, it took the hit, but then the power comes in too fast. Now you're going back to the laptop and you're detuning the nice tune you have for the engine computer. So the drag box allows you to leave the laptop alone, and you just adjust some manual turn knobs on the front of the box for that power on the launch, as well as how fast that power comes in after the launch. So it's really good for like no prep or backside driving, stuff like that. I think that's pretty much it in a nutshell. Oh, you will have I got little pictures I'm going to send. So at the base of the steering column, let me see if I can go behind here. The base of the steering column, you got a Y-split harness, right? And you'll see that part of the wiring harness will go towards the center console, and then this is coming out of the base of the steering column, and then part of the wiring harness will go towards your driver's side kick panel. So the side that's going towards your center console, it's kind of branching off to the right. You're going to open that one up and you're going to find that yellow wire in there. You snip that wire, right? And the side that is going, now you have this end here that's going on towards the center console. That's actually just looping up, and it's going to the body control module in the car. We have a wire labeled back to BCM that's going to go there. Now the wire that's hanging directly out of the steering column, that's coming from your paddle shifters. We have a wire labeled paddle shifter input, so that one's going to go there. So I'm giving you 2 yellow wires. You're going to find this one, snip it, and then my 2 are going to go like that. All right, they are going to stay apart. They are separate. All right, and then in the steering wheel, take the airbag off, find your left paddle shifter. It's sort of aiming like that. So you find your left paddle shifter. It's going to have this little wiring harness behind it, and it's going to pop out. It's hard to see in this picture, but it's a yellow wire and a purple wire. You're going to snip the yellow wire, and I'm going to give you a little resistor put in line. All right, just a little resistor. Spin it around in there. Use heat shrink tubing and some solder. Be real careful, don't overheat it, and just tuck it away nice and neat in there so that it doesn't get damaged, and put your cover back on. All right, that's basically the whole thing. So I'm going to strip this down and tidy everything up, and should be able to ship this out tomorrow.